Hello, welcome again to Mallorca and welcome again to the Best Centre. It's the 17th of June. Here's the news roundup.
On a busy week of competition, the Mare Nostrum continued in Barcelona and then Monaco, and the Seven Hills meet in Rome also took place last weekend. So in Barcelona, Katinka Hossiu won the 200 back again, 2:08 her time, as Britain's Siobhan Marie O'Connor won the 200 medley, 2:09.51, close to her season's best. But the big news from Barcelona was Hossiu's win in the 400 medley. 4:31.9 puts her on top of the world rankings, which at this time of the year is a clear marker of her intentions this summer. Adam Peaty continued where he left off in Cannes, winning the 50 and 100 breaststrokes again, this time going to head-to-head with Cam van der Berg in the sprint. He won that by 4/100ths of a second, 27.25 the winning time, and he also clocked 59.5 in the 100. In the 200 breast, Marco Koch of Germany showed his consistency with yet another swim under 2:10, clocking 2:09.3 for a dominant win. Olympic silver medalist Michael Jameson was third in 2:11. And after finishing fourth in Cannes, Chad le Clos was back to winning ways as the Olympic and world champion held off Daia Seto to win the 200 fly in 1:54.9. Denmark's Jeanette Ottersen continued her series of wins in the 50 fly and also added victory in the 100 fly, 57.1 her time. Kozuko Hagino of Japan is top of the world rankings in the medleys. He won the 400 medley in 4:11. Dutch woman Femke Heemskerk is still the one to beat in the 100 and 200 free, winning the 100 in 53.2, and once again holding off teammate and Olympic champion Ranami Kromowidjojo, although Kromowidjojo took victory in the 50. Jazz Carlin remains the best in Europe on middle distance free. She won the 400 in 4:06. For the men, Ryan Cochran has a season's best 7:52 in the 800 free. And in Monaco, the Japanese swam very well. In the 400 medley, Hagino was feeling the fatigue though, as Japanese rival Daia Seto won the race in 4:10. Hagino was 3 seconds back. Seto had a good weekend. He held off Olympic champion Chad le Clos in the 200 fly, winning in 1:54.6. Seto still leads the world rankings in this event. Le Clos won the 100 fly, 51.6 his time, as he looks to defend both fly titles this summer. But Seto had to settle for second to Hagino in the 200 medley. Ryan Lochte of the United States finishing in third. If you want to see textbook backstroke, look no further than Ryosuke Ire, a dominant winner in the 200 back, to add to the 100 he won earlier in the week. Now in the women, Kanako Watanabe will be one to watch, not just in the breaststrokes, but in the 200 medley as well, after she edged Hossiu in Monaco, 2/100ths of a second separating the pair, as Watanabe took the touch in 2:09.95. Hossiu won the 400 free in the absence of Jazz Carlin, as well as the 400 medley, 4:34 her time there, and the 200 free and 200 back. After finishing in the minor places last week, Kirsty Coventry, the double Olympic backstroke champion from 2004 and 2008, won the 50 back as she begins her comeback for Rio next year. Jeanette Ottersen was again on form, winning the 50 and 100 fly, as she aims to defend her world title in Kazan. But remember, Ottersen beat Sjöström to the European title last year, but in Rome, all eyes were on the Swede, Sarah Sjöström. We haven't seen much of her, but when we do, it's pretty impressive. She set a European record 56.04 in the 100 fly, on her way to winning 5 events. The time is the best in the world this year. It's also significant, as it is 2/100ths faster than the time she swam in the band suit era, when the Swede won the world title in 2009, also in Rome. Sjöström won the 100 free, 53 flat, the 50 free and the 50 fly, and also the 200 free in 1:55 flat. The questions are still being asked. Will she, won't she swim the 200 free in Kazan? All will be revealed in 7 weeks' time. And in the breaststrokes, Ruta Malatuta recorded another win, 1:05 to win the 100. In the men, Van der Berg won the 50 in 27.01, faster than he'd swam in Barcelona, closing in on Peaty's season's best 26.8. The South African also winning the 100, 60.7. Flo Manadou set another impressive 50 free, winning in 21.64. But what does it all mean? Well, if we look at the world rankings, this is what we see. The women's sprints in the 50 freestyle world rankings, Kate and Bronte Campbell lead the rankings from swims early this year, with Kromowidjojo in third, 24.03, 24.1 for the Australians, 24.3 for the Dutch woman. Into the 100, Kate Campbell leads from her time in Sydney, 52.6 the leading time. Hemskirk, though, 52.6 from her performance in Eindhoven earlier this year. Sjöström, with her swim in Rome, 53.0 puts her third in the world rankings. And Hemskirk is also on top from her 154 in Eindhoven earlier this year. Sjöström, with her swim from Bergen, again before the whole Mare Nostrum series started, 154.6, 154.7 to the top two. In the 400 freestyle, as in the 800 and 1500, Katie Ledecky remains a prohibitive favourite. She's miles in front of the rest of the field in all the distance events. Emily Seebohm remains on top in the 100 backstroke from her swim earlier in the year. And in the 200 backstrokes, Emily Seebohm remains on top in the 100 and 200 backstroke from her swims in Sydney. And Hoshu's 206 from Nancy, again earlier this year, is second in the rankings. Ruta Mailatuta's swims from Cannes in the 50 and 100 puts her on top of the breaststroke rankings. Meanwhile, in the 200, it's Watanabe of Japan who remains on top, 220.9 from their trials earlier this year, with Rika Möller Pedersen in second place, just behind. Now, Sjöström is on top in both the 50 and 100 fly, 24.69 from Eindhoven, puts her in front of Jeanette Ottersen, 25.48 to the Dane. And Sjöström's 56.04 from the weekend swim in Rome puts her on top, ahead of Ottersen's 57.1 from Barcelona. Katinka Hoshu is on top of the rankings in the 200 and 400 medley. Her swim from Charlotte in the United States in the 200 medley, 2:08.66, followed by Siobhan Marie O'Connor's 2:09.51 from London earlier this year, and she was very close to that last week. Hoshu again on top in the 400 medley from her time in Barcelona, 4:31.9, just a shade in front of Hannah Miley's swim from the British trials in London. In the men, and no surprises, as Frenchman Flo Manodou leads the world rankings, 21.57 after a series of swims well under 22 seconds. He's in front of Morozov in the 50 sprint. Morozov, though, is on top in the 100 from the Russian trials, 47.9, the best of the year so far, with Cam McAvoy from the Australian trials just a shade behind. No James Magnussen, of course, in the World Championships this year. He's struggling with a shoulder injury. Paul Biedermann stays on top, 1:45 in the 200 free from his swim in Berlin. No real changes in recent swims. It's the same story in the 400. Mac Horton, James Guy and Dave McEwen, 3:42, 44 and 44 still lead the rankings from swims earlier this year. Chris Walker-Hebburn is on top in the 100 backstroke, 52.88, his swim from the trials in London, while the Japanese Iri just a shade behind, 52.99. Iri, though, stays on top after all the swimming with his swim from Perth, 1:54.62 leads the rankings. No doubt about the top of the world rankings in the 100 breaststroke with that world record from Adam Peaty in London, 57.92, some distance in front of a British 1-2 in the breaststrokes, Ross Murdoch in second with a 59.1. Peaty is second, though, in the 200 breaststroke, his 2:08 from London, sitting very comfortably behind Yasuhiro Kozeki of Japan. 2:07.77 leads the way from the Japanese trials. And it's Konrad Cherniak of Poland who leads the top of the rankings in the 100 butterfly, 51.37. Chad Leclos in third place after his swim in Monaco. And Leclos is up to second in the world rankings in the 200 fly after his swim in Barcelona, 1:54.9, just behind Seto's 1:54.4 from the Japanese trials. Hagino is on top in the 2 and 400 medley, 1:56 from the trials, leading the way in front of Seto and Lochte. Attention turns now to the US this weekend for the final round of the Pro Series Championship, which takes place at the legendary Santa Clara Swim Club in California. We'll have all those results next week. Meanwhile, Australian freestyler Brittany Elmsley has pulled out of the World Championships. The Olympic champion in the 4x1 free relay underwent surgery 3 weeks ago to have a benign growth removed from her breast and feels she is not ready to compete at the highest level in Kazan. And you can see Ellie Simmonds and all the Paralympic stars live from this summer's World Championships in Glasgow, as IPC Swimming has announced that all 7 days of action will be streamed live. Log on at glasgow2015.com. The championships start on the 13th of July.
Thank you for your company today. See you next week.